In this week's double episode of Parasyte the Maxim, Shinichi has some brand new superpowers, and a brand new look and personality, and a ton of brand new problems. The double episodes this week were great. They went hand in hand, and they were also really heavy because everything in Shinichi's life is falling apart and crumbling at the foundations. His hand taken over by a parasite, his mom is dead, his dad has become a perpetual drunk, Murano won't even give him the time of day, he's having crazy outbursts, and to make matters worse, there's a brand new student in town. His name is Shimada, and he's a human-parasite hybrid who is going to be watching over Shinichi and make sure he doesn't do anything too crazy. And if any of his friends get involved, he'll freaking kill him. He will eat them alive. So, I really love these episodes right here, but the main thing to take away from this episode is just to see how different Shinichi has changed since the first episode of the series. It's not just a physical difference here, just the way he talks to people, the fact that he can't cry. It's almost as if him and Migi are actually slowly becoming one being altogether, and you really get to see a lot of really disturbing interactions between him and Murano. In particular, this one scene where he sees this dead puppy on the road, or one that's about to die, and suddenly it just dies, and instead of giving it a proper burial, he just tosses it in the garbage and calls it just a dog lumped shape of meat. And that's something that Migi would say, and Migi even said that himself, and it's at this point that Murano finally realizes that something's just not quite right with Shinichi anymore. And throughout the course of the next, 2 episodes, they have these short little interactions with each other where you think maybe they're going to patch things up, and it never works out for them, whether it be, Shimada showing up, or even the character of Kana who comes back. And she also seems to have some sort of strange connection with Shinichi as well. She claims that Shinichi is her soulmate, and that's because she thinks that she can sense him, but really it's because she can sense the other parasites, and I'm really interested to see if there's other people like that in the show. But this other character by the name of Shimada is just crazy. At first he just comes across as your typical goon-type character, but actually he's very cold and calculating and very smart. And at the very end of the second episode, his story arc really starts to unfold, especially when his face starts to explode open, and that's because it's involving the other character of Yuko, who is Shinichi's other classmate, and she's absolutely adorable. And her father actually happens to be involved in the investigation with all the parasites, and she also happens to have this sort of obsession with Shimada. She draws him continuously. She eventually does find out that Shimada is the one who can actually transform his face, and that's because there's this scene where a baseball smacks him point blank and it leaves this massive imprint which just immediately regenerates. And it's a very creepy, disturbing scene. And at first I thought she was really smart when she decided to go to her father about this and they finally started talking about it. I thought that she would actually admit who it could possibly be, but she decided to try and confront Shimada himself, and at the end of the second episode, she is confronted by him in this dark art room, and she finally is revealed to him that he's a freaky parasite creature. His face explodes open, it looks really nasty with all the eyeballs and everything, and then suddenly, just in a massive outburst, Shinichi just jumps up, and that's the end of the episode right there. So what's the rundown on these episodes of Parasyte the Maxim? They were very good. I loved both of them. It's really cool that we got 2 episodes this week, and they really worked perfectly together. They were a little slow, but I like the way they handled. It's really disturbing how realistic they're actually taking this whole parasite thing, the fact that they're actually addressing what Shinichi's family life is like, the fact that his father is just having a really hard time with confronting reality, and that scene where he asks his son if he's as hard as steel is just, it's very depressing, it really hits it home. And it's funny too, there really wasn't that much Migi in these couple of episodes right here. He was very minimal, but also Migi is being very smart too and making sure not to reveal about his whole having to rest thing to Shimada. And Shimada even theorizes that that's probably what he's trying to do too, because he can actually still sense Migi and everything. But still, it's all about the Murano and Shinichi confrontations this week that are really going to add a little bit of depth to these 2 episodes. And I really love the subplot with Yuko and Shimada. I think that's really cool, and I can't wait to see how next week's episode is going to start, because, I mean, there's so many students in the school. How's he not going to get caught in this crazy situation? On the technical side of things, the double episodes were handled really well. The animation was great. The animation and artwork was fantastic. Everything just really worked. It was just a really heavy heavy episode. It's been a long time since I've seen one like that. It was just like, it put me in a very strange mood. But I'm really excited as the prospect of this big battle that's getting ready to go on between Shinichi and Shimada. So I'm going to give this week's double episodes, both of them, a 4 out of 5. They were a little slow in some parts, but I'm really appreciating where the story is going, and I like how the police force is getting involved, and just all the side characters are finally getting a little more face time, and just a lot of really huge development for Shinichi himself. So, great episode. Check it out, guys. Cool stuff. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Before you go, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Parasyte the Maxim, both episodes 8 and 9. Remember, if you have not subscribed to our channel, you can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.